Welcome and namaste. My name is Dena Jensen, and this is Sun and Moon's YouTube channel. Today's practice I've called Flip Your Flow. So we're going to practice putting sequences of poses together, but with a different orientation related to gravity. So if you're familiar at all with the sun salutation, we'll use some elements from that. And it doesn't matter if you're not familiar with the sun salutation, as I'm going to teach you all of it. So we'll use that flow, that combination of going from one pose to another, but we'll orient ourselves in all different ways. So today you'll be on your mat or on a carpet or on the floor, wherever you're comfortable. We'll be lying down for the first sequence of the flow. And then I want to show you a kneeling flow. So those of you that need some padding underneath your knees, please grab a blanket now or a towel or anything that would support your knees. We'll do some things on a chair. So this, instead of a chair, if you don't have one accessible to you, which most of you are at home, so you probably do have one, but you could also use a couch or the side of your bed. Anything that is higher than the floor will work just fine, or like a dining room chair, kitchen chair. And then I want to take you to the wall. So we're just going to do this flow in all different ways, opening our minds to new experiences. So many of us have been home. When this video is being recorded, we're still in the middle of the COVID pandemic. And so many of us are at home a lot, seeing the same things and doing the same things. And our yoga practice can give us so many things. And one thing we can do is change our perspectives. And sometimes it's a mental shift. We get into the same postures, but we look at it in a different way, or we breathe through it in a different way. Or sometimes we can flip things around. So today, that's what I want to do for your new perspectives, just to shift you out of old ways. I think we're all going through transformation right now, even if we might not realize it. It'll be interesting to see how we all turn out on the other side. So let's approach this flow and this sequence with just a lot of interest, curiosity, welcoming in new takes, new perspectives. Okay, so I'd like to get started with some breath work. You are welcome to stay seated for breath work if you want. We'll be doing 2-part breath or 3-part breath, whatever is most comfortable for you. I'm going to lie down because I think that is a really nice way to practice this. So make your choice, whether you're lying down or you're in a seat. And then for this breath work, it's nice to put your hand somewhere on the body to feel movement. So if you put your hand on the low belly and put your hand somewhere either on the chest or even on the side rib, because when we do the part of the breath that breathes into the ribs, you want the ribs to go out in all directions, not just up. So wherever your hands are comfortable. And just settle in for a minute. Close the eyes or soft gaze. And now begins yoga, the union of your body, your mind and spirit or breath. Start to tune into your own breathing here. Feeling the rise on an inhale, the shape shift in the abdomen, torso area, and exhale releases. So often we do the 2-part or 3-part breath starting in the belly, but today I'd like the first part of your inhale to come in to the chest rib cage area, and the second part of the inhale to move down into the belly and then release everything at once. So when you're ready, on an inhale through the nose, breathe in to the rib cage, to the chest halfway, keep breathing into the belly. Big breath, and then breathe out, let everything go at once. It might feel really different. Have a natural breath. On your next breath in, breathe part of the inhale into the rib cage, chest area, and then breathe the second part of the inhale into the belly. Big breath, fill up those lungs, and exhale as you release everything. A couple more. Breathe the inhale into the chest, then into the belly. Release everything, and take a normal breath. So if this is accessible to you and it's going well, on the exhale, I'm going to suggest that you breathe out through the belly first and then release the chest. On your next inhale, breathe into the chest, ribs. Keep the inhale flowing to the belly. Breathe out, the belly releases, and then release in the chest. So it's like a wave. Inhale into the chest, then into the belly. Exhale, release the belly, and release in the chest. One more. Inhale into the chest, into the belly, big breath. Exhale the belly, and exhale the chest. And then come back to natural breath. And just take a moment. How did that go? That new way of doing the two-part breathing. Some of you may have divided that into three-part as well. Okay, if you're seated, let's come onto the ground. So I want to break down the sun salute components for you. We're going to start in lying down mountain pose. So lie down, stretch your legs long on the mat, and then have your arms down by your side. Starting with both legs active. So there is some muscular engagement, even though you're on the ground. Imagine that you're standing on an imaginary floor. So the toes are pointed up toward the ceiling. The kneecaps are pointed up towards the ceiling. Both legs are neutral, and you're in mountain legs. Push out through the heels, ground through the toe mound. So imagine the tripod of your foot as you're usually standing, and you're looking up. So just look at the ceiling, new perspective. How often do you kind of lie down and just look up at the ceiling? Release your arms to your side, walk the shoulder blades down the mat a little bit, and you can snuggle those shoulder blades under you, opening up in the collarbones. And then your hands, the palms can face in, or the palms can face up towards the ceiling to really have an opening there. So here's our lying down mountain pose. Reach through the crown of the head, and notice for you when you're on the ground, is your chin poked up towards the ceiling a lot, and the forehead tilted back. If that's the case for you, you might need to slide a blanket underneath your head. So you want to be long in the back of the neck and have the middle of the head grounded. So just taking your time here and lying down mountain. If your palms are faced up, let's face them into the body, thumbs up towards the ceiling. So we're going to start our flow and not worry too much about the breath just yet, and break down each part. So sun salute starts in mountain pose, and then we do extended mountain. Please reach both arms up and overhead. See how far the arms want to go. They might land next to the ears or they might not. Notice the front ribs. Can you draw the front ribs down so you're not puffing out in the ribs? So you'll feel some activation in your core. Extended mountain. You can reach the fingertips away from your feet. Keep those feet active. And the next part is a forward bend. So coming into the forward bend, I'd like you to bend your knees, step your feet on the ground, release your arms, tip your knees into the chest, put your hands on your knees and hug the knees in. So this is a flipped child's pose. This is a forward bend. So that's our third part of the sun salutation. And then we want to come into a lunge. So keep your right hand on the right knee, lift your left arm up and overhead, and then straighten your left leg long on the mat. And make sure that your left toes and your left knee still point up towards the ceiling. So this is one variation of the lunge. I'll show you another one in a minute. After the lunge, we usually do something like a strengthening pose that's either table or plank pose. So let's come into lying on the ground table. So bend your left knee back up towards the chest, release your left hand up towards the ceiling, release your right hand up towards the ceiling, and be in lying down table pose. So your knees can be in towards the torso, the knees can be on top of your hip points, the shins can be lifted, the shins can be relaxed. Reach through the heel of both hands, fan out your fingers. Imagine your hands are standing
on the ceiling, but ground the shoulder blades underneath you. So you're pushing through the heel of the hand, you're spreading your fingers. Your core is working to hold this. So even though we're flipped, we're doing work. We're just demanding different muscles to do different things. So that's a really good benefit of flipping things around. So one more breath. The next part usually comes into some kind of a back bend. Our back bend will be bridge. So if you would step one foot down at a time and put your hands to your side, palms down. You can walk the feet in a little bit if you want. Keep the feet hip distance, ground through the tripod of your feet. And then on an inhale, press into your feet, lift the hips, squeeze the glutes, lift the hamstrings. Do some work here to lift you up. Ground into your hands. And then we'll release the spine down, coming in to knees to chest. So bring the knees back into the chest, and now we'll do the upside down dog. Hands can come behind your thighs. You can reach both feet up towards the ceiling and stay here. So this is just an option for the upside down dog. We need to come into a lunge now. We're going to do the opposite side. So I want you to hug your left knee into the chest. Left hand is on the left knee, and reach the right arm up and overhead. Engage your core, belly towards the spine as you lower the right leg down to the mat. And then reach the left arm up and overhead. Reach your left leg long on the mat, extended mountain. We've just reversed things. And then your arms come to your side. Okay, so now you have a sense where we're going. I'm just going to speed it up just a little bit. I'm not worrying about breath yet. So when we come into the forward bend, knees in, you can do that stepping the feet onto the mat and then knees in, or you can just lift your knees up to the chest depending on how your back is. Okay, so come into your lying down mountain pose, engage your legs, ground through the imaginary floor. The toes are pointed towards the ceiling, kneecaps towards the ceiling, arms to your side, palms are in. Lift both arms up and overhead, extended mountain. Hug your knees to your chest for a forward bend. We'll come into lunge. Lift the right arm overhead, straighten the right leg long down on the mat. Come into upside down table pose. So bend the right knee in towards the chest again. Release both hands up towards the ceiling. And you can release your knees on top of hip points or keep them into the chest. Just see how the low back feels. You can lift the shins or you can keep them relaxed. You can activate the feet. Reach through the heel of the hand, spread out those fingers, get a good stretch. So I just want to add on here, you can step feet down at any time, using one hand to give a stretch through the wrists and hand and fingers of the other hand. So you can use your right hand, pull your left index finger back gently, then go to the next finger, the ring finger, the pinky, and the thumb kind of pulls out to the side. And let's do the other side. Spread out the fingers, pull the index finger back, the next finger, third finger, middle finger, and then ring finger, pinky, and thumb goes out to the side. Okay, and then reach through the palms, heel of the hand reaches up towards the ceiling, fan out the fingers, make sure your shoulder blades are still in the ground. Using our core muscles all around the spine to support us. Okay, arms down, feet down, ground into the feet, lift the hips up into bridge. Squeeze the glutes. Spine comes down into three-legged dog. Knees come in and hands can go behind the thighs, heels up, or you could reach the arms overhead and see what that feels like. Holding for a breath. And now we'll come into the lunge, reversing things. So the right knee will come into the chest, right hand on top of the knee, and release, core in, belly in, and release the left arm down long on the mat. And then reach the right arm up and overhead. Both legs are on the mat. Arms come down to your side. Okay, so we're gonna do each side one more time. I wanna show you something. So if you just roll over for maybe a second or turn your head so you can see me. When we go into the lunge, you're welcome to do the lunge that I showed you, or you could do half happy baby. So instead of holding on to the knee, you're going to hold on to the outer foot, or some people hold on to the inner foot. So you can decide if you would like to do that variation. I'm not going to practice that, but you could do that. Okay, arms to your side. I'm gonna add on breath here. If the back is starting to not feel great, you could do the whole thing with the knees bent, okay, instead of legs straight. So lying down mountain pose, ground through your feet. So you reach out through the heel, push through the toe mounds. Toes and knees are pointed straight up to the ceiling. When you go into extended mountain, keep the low ribs in. Palms are into the body, thumbs pointed up towards the ceiling. Let's take a nice breath in and reach the arms up and overhead, extended mountain. On your exhale, hug both knees into your chest. On your inhale, lunge, reach the left arm overhead, left leg long on the mat. On your exhale, upside down table pose. Heel of the hands up towards the ceiling. Fingers are fanned. Knees are over hip points maybe. Shins are lifted. Active feet. Belly in. Take a breath in and out. We're going to come straight into the back bend. So on an inhale, step the feet down, arms down, and lift the hips up. Breathe in. On your exhale, lower, bring the knees in, lift the arms overhead, and straighten your legs, feet up towards the ceiling for your upside down, down dog. We're going to hold here for a breath in and a breath out. On your next breath in, bring the left knee into the chest. On your next breath out, lower the right leg down. Remember, you could do the half happy baby here if you wanted. And whenever your next inhale comes, both arms overhead, both legs long on the mat. Exhale, arms to your side, left side. Inhale, arms lift up and overhead. Exhale, hug your knees into your chest. Inhale, reach your right arm overhead, right leg long on the mat. Exhale, upside down table pose. Inhale into bridge pose. Exhale, release, knees in. Inhale into upside down, down dog. Let's hold. Breathing in and out. And we'll finish up on an exhale, hug the right knee to the chest and lower the left leg down. On the inhale, both arms overhead, both legs long on the mat. Exhale, arms come down. All right, so bend your knees. If you like to roll yourself up and down, you could cross at the ankles and roll yourself up and down the mat and roll up, or roll all the way over to your side. Okay, so let's do a kneeling salute. Grab your blanket and we'll kneel. We're going to start in kneeling mountain pose. So stand up on your knees, stand on your shins, lift through the crown of your head. Take an inhale and lift both arms up and overhead. And on an exhale, we'll come into modified chair pose. Bend the knees, hips back, release the arms to your side, squeeze the shoulder blades together, but don't sit on your heels yet. Inhale, lift all the way back up. On your next exhale, we're going into child's pose. So sit the hips back and down, release your arms in front of you, hands down, relax your head on the mat. On your next inhale, lift up, and you can do a slight cow pose, or you can keep coming forward into a high cobra. Release the hips down. On an exhale, shift the hips back. Keep those hands reached in front of you. And then on your inhale, lift up, curl your toes under, lift the knees from the ground and come into top of the push-up pose, plank pose. Drop your knees down, sit back on an exhale into child's. Walk your hands down the mat. Put your hands on your thighs, lift yourself up. We'll stand all the way up. So however you like to get up from child's is fine. We'll do that one more time. Ready? Inhale, extended mountain, kneeling. Exhale, bend the knees, hips back, arms behind you, squeeze the shoulder blades together, but don't sit on your heels. Inhale, lift up. Exhale into child's. Sit back on the heels, hands come down, extended child's. On an inhale, lift up and shift forward into high cobra or to a cow. Exhale into your child's. And then inhale, lift up, curl the toes under, and then lift your knees up. Here on an exhale, we can lift into down dog, hips up and back. You could pedal it out. Take a couple breaths, or you could be down in child's pose. And let's drop to the knees. On our exhale, sit back into child's. And then however you like to get up from child's, you could put your hands on the thighs or the floor, or you could roll yourself up. Stand up on the knees one more time, and then we're gonna go to the wall. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, arms behind you. Sit the hips back, modified chair. Inhale, extended mountain. Exhale into your forward bend, child's pose. Inhale into your back bend, cobra or cow. Exhale into your child's. Inhale into your plank. Exhale into your down dog. So walk the dog around and breathe. All right, so let's either walk your hands back or your feet forward, whatever you do less often. So I think a lot of people don't walk their hands back towards their feet very often, so walk your hands back towards your feet, bend the knees, lift through the chest, and stand up. All right, so if you have a wall, I'm gonna invite you to go to your wall. So let's stand in front of your wall, and we're going to do the sun salutation using the wall instead of the floor. So have a little bit of a distance away from the wall. We won't do a complete forward fold to begin with. Come into your mountain pose. So remember, we had an imaginary floor when we were on our back, but now you have a floor to press down and out with your feet. Engage your legs. Kneecaps are pointed straight forward, just like when you were on your back, they were pointed up towards the ceiling. Now they're pointed towards the wall. Look up towards, or reach the crown of the head up towards the ceiling. Relax your shoulders. Put your hands in front of your heart. On the inhale, reach the arms out and up. And on your exhale, fold forward just enough that you touch the wall. Okay, so we're not really bending forward very much. And then we're gonna come into the down dog. So walk your feet back a little bit, walk your hands down, push your hands into the wall to shoot your hips back. Your hands can be higher than the shoulders. They can be at the same height as the shoulders. It doesn't matter. Then walk your hands back up the wall a little bit. We're gonna step your right foot forward towards the wall, step your left foot back, and be on the toe mounds of your back foot. Here's a lunge. And then step the back foot forward, so you're closer to the wall. We're gonna do the plank pose here. So plank pose, try to straighten your arms and get your hands right at shoulder height. And I like to do wall push-ups. So this, if you're somebody that you need to build the strength in your hands, in your wrists, and your arms, this is great. So bend the elbows and lean towards the wall and then push away. So you're just leaning towards the wall, the whole body leans towards the wall as you do these push-ups. You can move your hands down. You can move the hands out. Just see all the different ways. Okay, the next time you're in towards the wall, watch. We're gonna come in towards the wall and then lift up onto the toe mounds, lift the heart up towards the ceiling for a modified cobra or up dog, and then slide back down, walk the feet away, push the wall away from you, and come into your down dog. Step the left foot forward, we'll be in a high lunge, and then I step my right foot back a little bit just to feel like I'm in a lunge. Step the back foot forward. Inhale the arms overhead. Exhale, hands in front of your heart. Okay, so let's do all of that one more time. We'll do it on the left side. Hands in front of your heart. So make changes, make adaptations, right? And if you don't want to use the wall, you're just doing this on your mat, that's fine too. Inhale, arms lift up and overhead. This time on the exhale, I'm gonna fold straight forward, so all the way down. So fold at your hips and touch the ground, or you could stay at the wall. And I'm down on my ground, I'm gonna walk my hands back up the wall to come up until they're at shoulder height. And then step your feet back, push into the wall, bend at your hips, and come into your wall dog. So your arms are straight, engage your inner elbows towards each other like you're hugging a beach ball here. Take another breath in and out. All right, lift up, start walking towards the wall a little bit more and do a few push-ups. Pressing into the wall and away, towards the wall and away.
And the next time that you're in towards the wall, stay there, come up on your toes, lift the heart up, look up towards the ceiling, and then come all the way back down. One more, down dog. Press into the wall, walk your hands up or down the wall, wall dog. And then we'll step that right foot forward. I like to step the left foot back just a little bit to feel that lunge. Step the back foot forward. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hands come down the midline. Okay, so the very last version we'll do is with a chair. And you could do this, I have a bench here. I could do it on the bench. You could do it on your couch. So stand with something. Stand in front of something that's a little higher to the ground. So we're not going all the way down and up on the ground today with any of the flows. So we'll stand, and you could have the chair so that the top of the chair is facing you. That would be higher, or you can use the seat of the chair. All right, find your mountain pose here. So now you're facing probably in a different direction. See what you're looking at. Just take a moment. Ground through the feet, engage your legs, lift through the crown of your head, relax your shoulders. Place your hands in front of your heart. And then on an inhale, reaching the arms out and up. On your exhale, hands come down the midline, bend at the hips, and then put your hands on the seat of the chair. So this is a very modified forward bend. If you want to go a little deeper, you could bend the elbows straight back and put your head down on the chair or down on the couch, whatever is there. And then inhale, straighten the arms, lift back up. We'll step the right foot back. And I like to step my left foot forward a little bit. Again, let the hips drop down so I feel like I'm really in a lunge. And now step the front foot back, left foot steps back, hips are still down, push the chair away from you. This is the plank pose, top of the push-up pose in a different orientation. For a back bend, release the hips down, open the heart up. So sternum away from navel, squeeze the shoulder blades together. And then down dog, hip shift back, all the way back, step the feet wide. I have my hands on the side of my chair just because I have a folding chair and I can actually hold on to that. But wherever they can be right on the seat or they could be at the top of the seat. We step the right foot back. So please step the right foot forward. Again, I step that left foot back a little bit to feel that high lunge. And step the front foot back. You can bend at the elbows and drop your head down. Lift up halfway. And then let's inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, hands in front of your heart. This is just one of my favorite ways of doing the sun salutation. We'll do the left side and then we'll do a little cool down. Inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, hands come down the midline. Find your support. If you want to bend the elbows and go a little lower, you can do that. On your next breath, straighten the arms if they were bent. And then step your left foot back. High lunge. On your next breath, step the front foot back into plank. So this is really strong. Your shoulders, your hips, your ankles are all in a diagonal. You're pushing the support away from you. You're pulling the front of the body towards the back of the body. And then hips back for the downward dog, with your hands on something that's higher than the floor. Breathing. The left foot steps forward on your next breath. The right foot steps forward. You could bend the elbows and lower the head down. You could straighten the elbows. And then let's take a nice breath in. Arms overhead. Exhale. Hands come into your heart. Okay, so let's come all the way down. We'll do a little bit of a cool down and then close the class. So we didn't do any twists in our flow today, so a nice cool down will be just a few lying down twists. If you have a couple of blocks or pillows, you might use them. Lie on your backs, please. Any twist that speaks to you, you're welcome to do. I'll do some windshield wipers. So arms to your side, palms are up.
You can step your feet wide. So maybe do windshield wipers in a way you don't usually do it. So maybe feet go really wide, or maybe feet are touching, or somewhere in between, just a way that you haven't done it before. Take a breath in, and on your breath out, knees drop to one side, head goes to the other. Coming back to center, and opposite side. So just with your breath flowing. If there's some other way maybe that you can breathe, that's a little different. Often we go into the twist on the exhale, so maybe we can switch that up. What would it feel like to you if instead of breathing out when your knees drop over, you breathe in? So breathe in as knees drop to one side, breathe out as the knees come back up. Breathe in as the knees drop to the other side, breathe out as you come up. So many ways you can just play with your practice. All right, so if you remember which side you went to, go to the opposite, balance out. And then the last pose can be reclined cobblers, reclined butterfly, feet together, knees apart. You could put supports underneath your thighs or underneath your knees here. Just starting to breathe and relax. If the low back doesn't like this variation of the pose, sometimes if you bring the knees in towards the body and hold on to the ankles, that might feel a little bit better. The low back is pressing into the ground more. Sometimes this is called flying straddle or straddle pose. Whichever feels good for you. Or if there's some other, I mean, the beauty of you doing this in your own home is if there's something else you wish we had done, another twist, another back bend, anything that you wish we had gotten to, feel free to do it here. So settle in. You can stay here for relaxation. You could bring your knees together and stay here for a few minutes of relaxation. You could straighten the legs. You could put your legs up on something. And we'll just take a few breaths. Letting the body relax and the mind relax. So I'll invite you to stay to get a longer sense of relaxation. I'm coming up just to say goodbye, but you should stay. I'm going to invite you to stay for another 3 to 5 minutes. May we learn to live more like the lotus at home in the muddy water. Namaste.